I'd like to call on CS Rupanjana, Treasurer, ICSI, EIRC and Practicing Company Secretary. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. Feeling sleepy already? I know it's lunch time almost, but मेरा नसीब है हमेशा मुझे इसी time में मिलता है. So and I'm known to keep you awake. So don't worry about that. I'll speak for, I've been given 20 minutes and I wouldn't like to, encroach upon my next speaker's time. So I like to complete within 20 minutes only, and I'll be using a PPT. I will not be looking, I don't need a PPT to look at a PPT and speak, but I thought that, the visuals will help the participants to remember the message that I want to pass. And it's totally coincidental that my PPT and I look almost same today. So this is just a coincidence. And I got this PPT because I want you to remember the points that I want you to remember for your preparation in your career, be it for your MT, your training days, or be it in your profession, as a fresher. So how to crack an interview was the topic given to me. I would like to, I have a few more points which is not there in the PPT, but which, going forward, I'll just add to it. So Sandeep, can we move to the next one? Yeah. In this PPT, please, I have used some clip arts to make it more interesting for you. Visually appealing to you, because visual memory is the strongest memory. So if you see that, you're going to remember it for a long time, and this is going to help you. So what are the do's and don'ts to crack an interview, to be hired and not get fired? Because this is the question of most of you, I'm not getting an MT, I'm already 26 and all that. So, these are no problem at all. So let's move to the next one. Some of you may disagree with this, but unfortunately, the truth is English is very important. You may be very fluent in Hindi. Hindi is our national language, and we have the right to speak in Hindi officially also. But unless your English is really very good, you don't have that impact on the interviewer. So it's very important. You can see here the pig actually wants to mean I will work for food. But he has written will work as food, so he actually got the job, but he ended up on the table, right? So, this is how a wrong English can, get you into the wrong place. Can we move to the next one, please? Good communication skill is not just about good English. If you have a good English, it's not that, you're a good communicator. You have to be able to, speak out what you exactly want to. So, if you are going for, an interview, the best thing is to practice ahead. Don't take it lightly, because now in this auditorium, when you are listening to the speakers, you are showing your concerns. Ki, sir, mujhe nahi mil raha hai MT and all that. So how to, get a good management training scope. But the fact is, when most people get that scope, they take it very lightly. You come unprepared before the interviewer, and which ultimately, costs you that scope. So it is very important to practice ahead, and a very good way to do it is in front of the mirror. It might sound a bit weird, but then if you can, when you are dressing up for a party, if you can model in front of the mirror, then why can't you appear, in a dummy interview in front of the mirror? So that's a very good way to do it. The next one, please. Dress for the occasion. Yes, this is again very important. I have been on the interview boards of, few companies from time to time. I have noticed some very, in this recent times, I have seen a change in the way of dressing of candidates, which is very serious issue, and you have to put a lot of emphasis on what you wear. I have written from my experience, I have written a few points there which should absolutely be avoided. I would like to read out denims. Yes, please don't wear denims or jeans, any sort of, like jeggings, jeans, shirts, any type of jeans or denims. Sequin salwars, tops, blouses, people don't understand, girls, I'm talking about girls. Please understand that if you're going for an interview, you should not be wearing anything that has sequins, chumki. So that should not be there. Shiny zari bordered saris also are a complete no-no for formal interviews. Hooded jackets, I don't know how, we just passed the winter, and in this winter I have seen people, instead of, proper formal blazers or maybe, sweater kind of a thing, people were wearing hooded jackets or, very, very casual jackets to interviews. So this should definitely be avoided. And when you're wearing a jacket, you also get the tendency of having your hands inside the pocket. I can understand you are feeling cold, but then you should be aware that you are facing a very expert interview board. Then tight pants in the interviews should be avoided. Any kind of tight dresses should be avoided. Sheer tops, I know it's in fashion, it's in vogue, but not in the corporate, corporate world. Please keep it for parties or, time with friends out, but not for the interviews. Colorful floral prints on shirts or salwars is again, it's a no-no. Animal skin prints, very casual. Anything above the ankles, if you're not wearing a skirt, like a formal skirt, if you're wearing, that's okay. But other than that, anything above the ankles is thought to be casual. There are more things, I have seen girls coming with, pile. Pile is a good thing, it is an accessory, you can wear it. But if you're going for an interview, ensure that it doesn't sound, chum, 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 chum. Doesn't sound good. So, doesn't look good. So these things should be taken care of, because the fact that interviews, getting job, getting a good career opportunity is very important for you. So these things should be paid attention. Can we move to the next slide, please? Perfect body language is again another very important thing. When we are appearing in an interview, we do a lot of things. And I came across a guy who was yawning. So I wondered whether the boy actually needed a job, because he was so bored with the interviewers. And then there was somebody cracking the knuckles, cracking the knuckles, right? How do you say that in Hindi? Katka. We say in Bengali, angul fatano, right? So, don't do that in an interview. You will get the time to do that at home, when you are outside. Remember inside the interview room that you are here on a very formal meeting. So, there are things that you're not supposed to do. It may be lunchtime, you may feel like yawning, but then I know at least I can overcome that thing. And if it, something like, sneezing and all this is, unavoidable, then you can at least say, excuse me, or something like that. So this is very important, body language. Next. Sitting posture, this again is very, very, very important. I have seen people, rolling around in the chair like that. The interviewer is sitting, looking at your CV, and the person is, rolling in the chair, because, thankfully all the chairs have these wheels and they are revolving chairs. And then somebody, you can see the picture there. There are so many things which you are not supposed to do. You're not supposed to, relax on the chair. You should be sitting upright, still, and, with full attention on the questions of the interviewer. So these things really matter, especially if you are going for an organization which is really, a big organization, for organization which pays a lot of importance to these developmental skills. Next one, please. Dependence on references. This is a big problem. I know such and such person, this I have done, this person is my parosi, he is my mama, and he's my chachi and all that. So please avoid that thing. If you're going for an interview in a very big organization, nobody is interested in knowing, what family, who are your relatives and who are. If you're taking, not name dropping, then why not you go and work with that person only? So somebody might come up with that question to you. So it's best not to use it unless asked for. If the interviewer asks you for reference, definitely you have to give a reference, but not unwanted references. Punctuality is important. I was not in time today, so I should mention that today being a Sunday, I took the liberty because, on Sundays I am a housewife and I had to actually outsource my kitchen today to my mom's place, arrange everything, have my daughter and my husband there, and then I had to come. So, I am sorry for that, but anyways, this is a Sunday, I can take the liberty, and this is not an interview again. So in interviews, punctuality is very important. At the same time, you should not be there very early. You should not be there late. You should not be there very early. 5 to 10 minutes early is okay. Next one. CV drafting. This is a, menace. Many people get CVs either drafted by somebody else or copy-paste is a very good thing, right? Very unique thing, a savior. When it comes to, having a good CV, I have a friend, uska CV ka please soft copy de do, and then, just put my information there, and then give it to the organization. This should be avoided. In the picture, this picture is very funny. You can see that the person had actually copied the CV of a chartered accountant, and he was actually appearing for an interview of a company secretary. So these things happen. In a recent interview, I questioned the person whose CV I was holding. I questioned her so many things, and every time she was saying, "No, ma'am, mujhe nahi aata hai." So then at the end, I asked, "Why did you write you have done all these things?" So, "Ma'am, actually I copied it from a friend." So this thing, it gives a very sorry image of you in front of the interviewer. So please avoid it. Spend some time on the CV. And also, formatting of a CV is very important because, when you are going for an interview in an organization, in today's world, computer is very important. You are supposed to work on the computer on the computer. So if you don't know the basic formatting techniques, then again, your learning is not complete. So formatting, Word, Excel, PowerPoints are very important. You have to know them as the basic necessities. This again is a very big problem. Trying to get sympathy from the interviewer. Sir, I don't have, my father died when I was young. My mother is a housewife. I have to take care of the family. So I really, really, really need this job. So these things are something which must be avoided because ultimately this is giving an idea about the lack of confidence on your capability. If you are capable, you'll get the job anyways. You don't have to ask for sympathy. Ultimately, it doesn't help. Once again, in a recent interview, I came across this. And then, in the second round also, this lady tried to convince the boss, the managing director, that, sir, I really need this job because of my family condition. So the boss, the boss who is looking forward to an employee is not there to look after your family, right? The boss is interested in a good candidate. So the best idea is to brush up your technical skill, answer questions properly, and then get the job. And if asked, definitely you can have a mention, but don't bank on sympathy. Self-confidence is more important. Once again, a mock interview in front of the mirror where you can be the interviewer and the interviewer at the same time is very, very helpful, and this is absolute must because when you are doing that, you are actually finding out your own faults and you are working on them so that when you go to face the real interview, you don't come across those questions, and if you do, you are prepared to answer them. So practicing before the mirror, rehearsing before the mirror is very important. Know your company when you are going for a job. For example, if you go to Mr. Poddar for a job at ITC, please read about ITC, know about ITC before going. You know, like he expects anybody from any organization expects the interviewee to know about his company. It gives him pride. He likes the fact that this person has read about my company. So this is important. Wherever you are going, you should first read about that place and then only prepare yourself. And when you are appearing in the interview, you can show your interest in the company that the interviewer will definitely appreciate. This is a big problem. And some people also say that, yes, ma'am, I'm a bit nervous. Don't have to say that. We all know interview is a pressure situation, tense. Everybody is tense during interviews, but you have to look relaxed. And even if you are really not relaxed, you don't have to say, sir, I'm really very, nervous. Don't say that, because people expect that. Try to come out of that interview fear. That again, a mirror rehearsal before the mirror will help you to do that. So this has to be checked. This has to be avoided. Avoiding the use of cell phone, definitely. If you don't want to switch off your cell phone, definitely keep it on silent mode, not even on vibration mode, because please remember the table that you are keeping the mobile on is being shared by your interviewer also. So when the mobile is vibrating, the interviewer can also feel the vibration. So the silent mode is the best option. Keep your mobile. This is a way of showing respect to the interviewer also. There is no second opinion about it. There is no parallel to this. Technical knowledge is very, very important, right? In an interview for a company secretary, you should not sound like a musician or, like I had taken an interview for MT where the person who came to me said, Ki ma'am, I am working, I'm very interested in motor parts and all that. So I'm actually, at the moment, I'm working in a company. That's my passion and all that. I don't know much about company secretaryship, but I want to be a company secretary. So that was kind of weird. If you are going for an interview for MT or a job or whatever, as a company secretary, as a chartered accountant or whatever, please be prepared with the technical knowledge of that particular profession only. Being courteous is very important. You should thank the interviewer for giving you the time, for like calling you for the interview, for giving you the time, for listening to you patiently and all that. And an email with like a thank you letter, something like that really helps to make an impression. Can we move to the next slide, please? This is just a sample thank you letter. You don't really have to do it, but this is an add-on which might help you to pass on the message to to the organization that has taken your interview, and that will also help you to make a mark on the interviewers, because the decision, when the decision is being taken, this also helps. So before, like there's some other points also which I would like to share. When we are talking of soft skills and speaking power and all that, in India we have the good thing about our country is that, Hindi, English, we use both languages and all. But when you are speaking in English, please don't, please don't speak in Hinglish, English, Hindi, English. I'll do it now. This is not English, right? I'll give you an example, I'll say something from my personal experience. I did my master's in law and master's in economics from Germany and France, respectively. We used to have a midterm meeting. In the middle of the term, there used to be a meeting where all the students from all different countries used to come together, and we used to have it's not a reunion, but it's a midterm meeting. So during that, when I was meeting new students from other universities who were in the same program, I was talking with a South African person from South Africa and another from Albania. After some time, after some conversation, this guy from Albania asked me, so which country are you from? So I was a bit surprised, my confidence was shaken because I had always thought that I look very Indian. So how come somebody asked me, which country are you from? So I said, India. So he said, but you don't sound Indian. So that was, like, you don't look Indian. If the person would have said, I would have, like, that would be some sort of an expected answer. But then the person said, you don't sound Indian. So, I was thinking what he meant. Then I thought maybe he's from Albania, so he doesn't know about India, except for the fact that they have exported Mother Teresa to India. Nothing else maybe about India. Then I came across another lawyer from Ukraine. And after a few sentences, he said the same thing to me. And these two guys, they don't know each other. So I was surprised ki how come two different persons from two different countries on separate occasions tell me the same thing, ki you don't sound Indian. So then that night, I, thought a lot. I Googled, sounding Indian and all that. And then I bumped across English on Wikipedia. And then I realized, because, I normally don't mix in Hindi and English when I'm speaking, so maybe he felt that I was speaking in neutral English, so I'm not an Indian. We have here, I would like to give an example of something where we really go wrong when we are communicating in English, we are bringing in Hindi into English. A very famous dialogue in a famous movie. बड़े बड़े देशों में छोटी छोटी बातें हुआ करती है. Which movie is that from? Okay. My film IQ, general knowledge is not very good. Dilwale Dulhania. Okay. So how do you translate that into English? In big countries, small things happen. Do you do that? So that's where we go wrong, right? In Hindi, in Indian languages, not in Hindi. In all Indian languages, we have this usage of this, colloquial usage of double adjectives. Choto choto, bado bado, bishi bishi, bhalo bhalo, right? Acha acha. And we do it. In Indian languages, we do it. But when we are translating the same thing into English, in big countries, small things happen. How many of us use that kind of, double adjectives in English? Most of us do. These are small issues here, don't mind. So something like that we always say. So this is how, we are termed as sounding Indian. Because I was not doing something, I was not using na inside my sentence. I'll go na, I'll do na, and then, shaking your head when you are speaking English, it's not done. When you are speaking in Hindi or Bengali, speak Bengali the way Bengali is spoken, speak Hindi the way Hindi is spoken. When we speak English, let's speak neutral English without bringing, we cannot speak like a British or person or American or Australian maybe. Not all are that good in linguistics, but then we can at least speak in neutral English. So this is a very important part of, soft skill and self-development. This is a very important part. Another point about interviewing I would like to mention, don't lie about anything to the interviewer, because the person who's taking your interview is an expert and the person has come across your age, your condition and everything. So if you're saying something which is wrong, the person can understand it from your body language, from your eyes. So this also gives a very sorry image of yourself to the interviewer. Another thing which I was recently told by a person, an example of how interviewers fail. A person came to an interview and said, sir, I wanted to do management training in a listed company, but I didn't get any option, I didn't get any chance, so I am here. Please, this is insulting your interviewer. Many people do it. Maybe because in the tensed situation, you forget that you are actually insulting the person who is taking your interview, and that person is never going to take you because you have made him your reduced choice. You have not got option in a listed company because Calcutta mein to listed company kam hai. That's why I am here, sir. Kya kare? Don't do that. Let's not do that. And I think I'm approaching 20 or I have crossed. Okay, I'll just conclude here By saying that, please remember that we all, like those who are on this side of the dais, we all have failed at some point of time. It's not that, it's said failures are the pillars of success. And just like the people on that side, you may be students, you may be freshers, young members. Like you, we have also failed. Like you, we have also struggled. And the most important thing is, being a student, you might feel that ma'am has become a professional, so ma'am doesn't have to read. The actual thing is that, once you read less, so long as you are a student, once you become a professional, reading has to be made a habit. You have to read every day. I mean, at least in our kind of a profession, you have to be updated every day. So don't be disheartened saying that I'm a student. Students, you're still enjoying the best period of your time. So this is the time for self-development. And, there's no end to self-development. Every individual can develop his or her individuality. And that is what actually gives you that cutting edge in an interview. That is what makes you rank over others in an interview. So I wish you all the best, and I would like to, say, if you have any queries, anything, you can always reach me in that email ID and phone number. Otherwise, I wish you all the best for your exams, for your interviews. Thank you.